Hi folks, this is Rose from In Rose's Garden, and today we are going to make something that I don't usually make on camera. Why? Because it usually takes a long time, number one, so I'll probably be fast forwarding a few spots, and number two, because it's pretty intricate and it's a lot of work. But I've got an easier design than normal that I've designed here at the bottom. So this is the circlet we're going to work on. And it's not a lot of work for this one. It's mainly going to be 2 large pieces of wire and small wire to put the jewels in. So let's turn down and I'll show you more what we're going to do. Okay. Now, I usually thin my camera up so you're closer, but I'm not going to do that because I know because we're doing wire work, I'm going to go off screen. It's just a fact of life. So I've got some 24 gauge. This is for my wire wrapping. We won't need that right yet. Next, I have 16 gauge. This is for my support piece, the one that was across the top. Let's see if I can get this over here so you can see it. Maybe not. It's pretty far down on my page. I tend to draw them down on the page so that I can get pictures in above. So unfortunately, okay, maybe just barely. So this one will be the 14 gauge going around here in this this loop. Actually, it looks like I have this piece with the V being the 14 gauge and the big loop being the 16. Either way, it doesn't work. It's not that big of a deal whichever way we do it, but I think that will work better. So the 16 is going to get a loop in the middle, which is then going to have this bead in it. And then the 14 gauge is going to be our base wire going all the way around. And then this will hook to it as we come around, and it'll hook at this where the V comes in, and it will hook on the edges. So the first thing we need to do is get our 14 gauge wire out. Come on, you. I'm going to cut this little piece off. Right here. And I'm going to drop it right there so that I know that this is the 14 gauge, though I can usually tell by hand anymore. But what we need is we're going to cut one of these pieces here off, these plastic pieces, because they're going to be in the way. And now I'm going to take my heavy duty cutters, because we're cutting something bigger. This one is for, let's see if I can see where it says. It usually will tell you how big of a diameter you can cut. I'm not really seeing it on here, but I'm going to cut this spot right here off, because when it's a kink like that, it's harder than heck to get them off. And then you want to cut about anywhere from 22 inches to 24, depending on what you want to do. If I've got a lot of bends and twists in it, I will use 24. My head is actually 22, and I'm not sure how much my model here, how big her head is, but I usually go so it just touches on the sides of the model's head, and then I will, come on, add some extender chain. So she's not even 20. So we want about like at least 22 inches, maybe 23 if the loop had been in this one, I would have gone for 24, but it's not. It's just the bend. So we're going to go for 23, I think. And that is, there's 12 right here. So we're going to need obviously more than that. So let's pull her out, and I have kinked it right here, so I'm going to try and get that out by hand. There's the 12. And that is about what I want right there. So we'll cut that off. Put the rest in here and put it aside. We don't need it anymore. But what I do need is to find where our middle here. So since we cut about 23, it would be about 11.5. So I'm straightening it up as much as possible with my fingers. And then we're going to go to 11.5, and we're going to put that V-notch in there. So right here, I'm going to take my flat nose pliers, put them right where my thumbnail's at, and bend this up. You can see they're pretty even now. Well, there you go. Now you can see. And put this aside for right now. And then I'm going to take these, and because I want these to go in sort of a wing-like shape, I'm going to just make them go like so. And we'll do the same on this side. Okay, this one's not as deep, so there we go. That's a little better. And now what we're going to do, and actually this probably will not be this high up. I probably will have it more like this. Now we're going to take our head, and we're going to put this about where it would sit if it was on your forehead. Then we're going to bend our wires around her head like so to give ourselves the general shape we want. So it's like so. Now we've got a lot of extra in the back, and actually one of these must be longer. Well, it might be the way I've got it sitting, but we're going to make some loops in the back. This is where our chain and things will be sitting at. But here we go right now. That's what she looks like. Now I'm going to take my larger bell making pliers, and I'm going to make a loop. Bing. And then we'll do the same on this side. And this is where our lobster claw and our extender chain will hang on to close it up and finish it so it doesn't slide off your head. Now I think this is probably going to be bigger than I want, but we'll wait till the very end to decide if we need to cut anything off, because we're going to be wire wrapping, and that's going to take up some space. So the next thing we want is to get our 16 gauge out. We'll set this aside for right now. And we got to decide how much of the 16 gauge we need. This has a notch, so we have to cut that off. So remember, this is the one that's going to have the jewel in the front. So we're going to want a bit of wire, but not an excessive lot. So I'm going to cut it right here. This should be plenty. And we'll put it aside. So now we have to straighten this one up somewhat, because again we have to find where the middle is approximately at. So we're going to measure this piece. There's 12. And then we also have, looks like it's about 16, maybe a little less than that. So we want to go to 8. That's right here. And then we're going to get out our round mandrel piece, and we're going to go up pretty high because we need it to fit that jewel to fit onto there. So that's the middle, so we're going to bring it around here, and it's going to go across both sides to make this ring. And it looks like it could be a little bit smaller, so we will slide it back down. That was ended up being too big, so we'll go up to the next one and pull both sides. Now let's see how she fits. Now she fits pretty good, so we're going to leave it just like that. The next thing we want to do is bring these up into that bow again. And this is going to sit with this right here. Actually, we're going to bring these up some so that they're more of an oval shape. If I can do that without doing it some damage here. The stone sits here, and then this is going to go right here where they come together here. And go up and over. It's going to go up across the top like so. Come on, baby, come on up here. And it's going to have a loop-de-loop at the end, and I've got it more than I need. I can see that already because we want our loop-de-loop to be about right here. So we're going to cut off a little bit of our circular one here, maybe an inch or two on either side. But the thing I want to do before I do any cutting is I want to make sure, let me see, where's my oval one here? We're going to go into here with the oval one some and see if we can't oval that out just a little bit up at the top so that the stone, the Y comes down into that a little more. But I don't want it to be uneven. See how it's uneven right now? This side is a little more rounded than this side. We don't want that, so we're gonna bring it like so. Okay. Now our stone's gonna sit sort of towards the bottom with the other one, this piece, going across the top of it. Like, see if I can get it to do it here with these big long wires here in the way. But it's going to go like here, and the stone is going to sit in here, and it's going to sit just like so, with the V sort of bumping into the top of the stone. So we actually have to put the stone in before we can actually put the hook this upper one into place, because we need it to, the stone to be sitting down where we want it at. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to trim these down some after we measure. because I want them the same length. And we'll measure from right where these come together here. So we'll pop that down there, hold it in place, and then we're going to go up and over with our tape measure here till we get to this other side. And this is 7 inches on this side. Come on, you. That's just a little bit over 7 inches on this side. I am going to cut, I think this was exactly 7 on this, and this is 7 1/16 on the other side. So let's see what we've got here for sure. They might be the same. And nope, it's actually exactly 7. So I'm going to cut 1 inch off of this side. I'm just going to put it down here so I can see it better. Right there. And then on this side, I'm going to cut 1 inch and looks like those lines are 1/8, not 1/16. So we're going to cut an inch and 1/8 off of the other side. So right here. So now I'm going to form my wing pieces over here on this side. And then we're going to start wire wrapping the stone in and putting this together right here. So first things first, we're going to get my bell making pliers. Are my larger ones. And what we're going to do is we're going to turn on the smaller one and turn it down. Like so. Then we're going to put the smaller one right here, and we're going to turn with the bigger one. Come on. Knocking things with the wire, but no surprise there. Then we're going to turn that down on this side. Do the same on this other side. Turn this loop down. And the wire's knocking all kinds of things around. And then we'll put it right here and move it, twist it this direction. So there is our circular piece all done. Now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take the head again and put this in place. And then we're going to bend this wire around. Now it didn't bend it all the way, obviously, because it's flipped up, but you can see it is a little more bent. So now this piece will be, like I said, going right here. And then these are going to come up, and they're going to go up here, and these are going to actually need to be bent. Where's my... So we'll take this, and they're going to bend up right here, like so. Because when that comes around and goes down, it's got to sit on that bar. So what we want it to do is to, probably going to need a little bit more bend because we're not up as high as we want to be. So we can just bend it just a little more. And since it's got the beginning bend in place, it's easier to bend because it's going to want to go where you have it. So this will go here. This one will go over here. Bing. And that's going to go down further. Oh, maybe I wanted it a little less of a bend, not more. Yeah, I wanted less. So let's bring her back down. Because we don't want that to go up that high. Actually, this will probably be on the outside, like so. We'll see. So there, sits like that. That does need just a hair's breadth more bend, but that's all right. And then this one will sit over on this side, and they'll be wire wrapped in. So the first thing we want to do, as I said, is wire wrap our crystal into our hole here. Another thing we can do right now, which I haven't done in the past, is I'm going to take my steel block. I'm going to put this down here on the corner, and I'm going to take my chasing hammer and give it a couple of thunks. And you're probably going, why? Well, that's because I want that wire to stay right there. So when I thunked it, see how it made little divots right there in the wire? That holds them in place where I want them to be at. And I will wire wrap that just a little bit to keep that in place as well. But right now, that will keep it from wiggling too much out of place. Got things falling down here. Probably grabbed them with the wire. So we want to get, where did I put it? There it is. Some of our 24 gauge wire out. And we don't need very much for this piece because we're just going to put the stone in here. So in order to do that, we want to wrap it here 3 or 4 times. I usually do 4 just to be on the safe side when I'm at the ending place. 1. And these are not going together very well, so we're going to push this down into place some. 2, 3, and let's see how we're doing here. Well, for one thing, this one's way out of whack, so we'll pull it back over here. And we're going to have to pull it tight because it loosened quite a bit when it went way over there. So there's 3. And I think we have enough wire here just to make BR4 go up and over here. So now that we've got that side done, we'll slide our bead in place. I obviously have a bend in the wire because the bead doesn't want to go down all the way. And then we're going to wire wrap the bead on this side to bring it, to stabilize it, to hold it in place here. Now we'll want 4 or 5 wraps on this side as well. So let's get our 4 wraps in here. Come on, baby, up you go. And we want okay, now we'll need to cut our wires and get them more in center here, and then we'll start our other wire onto it. Okay, so I've cut the ends of the wire off. I'm going to take my chain nose pliers, and we're going to, the stone will roll because of, well, it's a bead, and it's not got anything behind it to hold it still, so there's our stone in place, or our bead, I should say. So it's going to sit right down there in the bottom of that pocket right there. And I'm going to tighten my wires up some. Now the next step, now that we've got this bead in, is to put our V right in here. So it's going to sit right inside here. Now my decision I have to make is it going to go behind or is it going to go in front? I'm thinking we'll put it behind. Might be a little easier to work with that way. We want our stone to be right there. Baby. So when we put it on, see if I can work with this upside down. It might be easier since we got wires hanging out. We'll put it so it sits just like so, and our stone will sit right above it. Or, well, it'll be below it actually when we get it done. So we'll get some more of the 24 gauge wire out, and we will put this here and here. Now I'm going to get a relatively good size length out because I'm going to do both of those ends at the same time. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our V, and I'm going to wrap right here, the 4 wraps that I always do. There they are, 4. Now we're going to take this piece, and we've decided this is going to be in front, I believe. It doesn't matter. It can be front or back, whichever your preference is. We'll slide this down to this bar here. And then we're going to, come on baby, go down there. Go down through this slot here, pull it tight, back through here, and we want to do those 3 or 4 that we talked about right through here. Go through the hole again. Now I'm putting my thumbnail here because I don't want it to go over the top of the one below it, or the one that's already in place. Now incidentally, if I were to do so, I could bring this wire and just go around and not have to do this, because I could just go around the hoop, you know, the piece that we're hooking on here, because it's not attached to anything yet. So again, see, like just like that. I go down through here, and as you see, the bead is moving, and that's not anything that we can really do anything about because it's not, like I say, it's not attached to anything. Now what we're going to do is we're going to do some loose wraps along our V here. And we've got to get it back in place. See, it's way out of place. So we got to push her back into place. Actually, I should have done a tightening one over here instead of just doing this yet. So we're going to push this up the V. Go up and around a couple of times to anchor it down there. And of course, this is in an awkward spot. Now, like I say, we've got to get our V back in place because it's not in place. See how it's way off to this one side? So we're going to have to bring it and slide it this way some. A little bit more. So we can get the V where we want it to be at, but it's got to come down on this bar too some. So we've got to bring her down some. Because we do want it to be down further on this bar so that it's sort of bumping into the crystal. So push you down that way. And over this way. So like so. Oops, too far now. Well, just barely. Just a hair's breadth. Okay, so now we want those loose ones I was saying, so that this goes down into the V. Come on, you, come back up. And then we're going to do some of these tightening ones that like this one over here is. So we'll do like 3 or 4 of those. Well, if it'll let us here. There we go. Now we're going to take the wire and it's going to go up through here again. Oh, come on, you, don't go over there that far. And we're going to pull this and bring it over the top like so. Then we're going to do that like, come on, you. Ugh. For here again. But we're twisting around here some. I'm going to have to... Well, we'll get that fixed after we get it all wrapped here. So we have to go through here. And I think we slid sideways. Well, I'm going to have to get my wires finished here, and then we will get it fixed as far as the sideways is, because it has slid. And I'm going to have to get it to not slide. Okay, that's the last wrap. Now we have to see how much we've got slid here. Looks like it's this one that's slid. And it's not too bad. Sit right there. So now that we've got this in place, so you can see, it's, though this little guy wants to slide around some, but the next step is to take and wire wrap down these sides here. So we'll get our wire out, and we will are just gonna wrap those up right there. So I've cut another piece of the 24 gauge, and we're going to get this to about where it needs to be at, which is right here. And then I'm going to wrap here the 4 times on the bar where it's going to attach to. That's 4. Then I'm going to bring this down, and because this can be opened, I'm going to just slide it open some, and we're going to just wire wrap right through here, and we'll do 4. Relatively tight right there. Then we're going to make a couple of loose ones. And we've come to our circle piece here. So move this back into place and open this piece up. Then we're going to go through it the 4 times, making sure you're not overwrapping so that it goes to the side where it needs to. Close that baby back up. And now we have just to go through this bar right here the 3 or 4 times. Come on, up you go. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And now we'll cut this one off, and this one is now attached where it's supposed to be at. Like so. Now this one comes over here, and it's going to go on this side. I wish I could stabilize that a little better, but I don't know how I do it. So, let's just going to have to roll just a little bit. So anyway, like I said, we'll get another little piece of wire out. I don't think this is quite long enough. And we'll attach this piece. Two. Three. And 4. Now the 4 back over here. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Bing! So now we have the base, most of it. It's mostly finished now. I got to cut the wires and squish the pins down. And then I'm going to put some crystals along here and here. These little guys. Add a little more to it, and then we have to do our closures. So here's what she's looking like so far. So let's start clipping our wires off. Now the next step is we're going to squish those wires down into place. Now we'll take our nylon jaw pliers and squish these good so they're more in line to where they need to be at, both sides. And then down here in the middle as well. And then I'm going to get these little edges here for the bead. There we go. Now one thing I always try to do is run by hand over them and see if I find any rough edges. I don't right now, so that's good. So here we are so far. I know it's hard to see it because it's at a weird angle. Trying to get the bead a little bit better. Now, the next thing I usually do is put it back on my head. Not my head, the head pattern here. And wrap it around. As you can see, I've got a lot of excess here in the back. I will probably cut some of that off. Because I like her to sit on my model here, but I don't want it to be too loose, so there we go, like there. So next is to put on our little jewels. And to do that, we're just going to get some more of our little thin wire, and we'll wrap it on this end. Then we'll put our jewels on and go all the way over to the other side. So we need to get some more wire out. Now this time I'm going to get quite a bit more out. Have enough that I don't have to cut any extra, that I can go all the way across with it. So we want about that much probably. Aside again. So now what we want to do, now we can anchor this in a number of different ways. We can anchor it here at the loop, back here, and then come through the loop, or we can start right here to anchor it. I usually go about right here, so that this itself is helping with my anchor. So we'll go up and over and through this loop. Come on, baby, go through the loop. Pull her tight. Go again. Now I'm going to take this one and go here. But instead of coming up again here, I'm going to come up here. So we'll do one or two of these right here. And then as we come up again, we're going to put a jewel on. So we'll, come on, baby, don't twist up on me. So here we go. There's our, we'll dump some of the jewels out. I tried to get as close a match to my top one as possible. So okay, drop it down to the base wire, tuck it right there, hold it right here, then bring your wire up and around, and I usually come up and around twice. So this is the holding one, and this is where the next bead is going to go on. Sorry if I'm getting my head in your way. I'm trying to find the little hole. So then, of course, we're going to keep doing that. One up to anchor it. Bing. And this one can go over here a ways because it's a little tight in there. And I need to see how the wire's stuck up there a little bit because it's coming from the other side down here. I want to bring it down a little bit, so I'm going to get in here with my pliers and push the wire down. So there we go. There's the first two on. And we're just going to keep doing this. We're going to go up through here again, and now the bead will go on again. Roll down there. Come on, there we go. Up. Oh, come on, don't kink on me. This is where the next bead sits. way down. Hold it. Bring it up and around. Pull it through again. Put the next bead on. Now you can put these as loose or as tight as you want, or you can have none at all if that's what you prefer. Okay. One, two, and we'll just go like this till we get to the end here. It's going to look like so. And we're going to knock everything out from the cubby here because this wire's trying to go everywhere. Okay, now we've come to where we're going to put this last one on to this side. So we're going to carefully push this through here and bring it down right here onto these other wires here. So then, because we are down here to this spot, we're going to go through here again like we just did. Got to be careful and bring it back over here. Then we're going to go over where the connection was before. Come on, you. Pull it tight. Go up through our loop here. Okay, this is trying to do a funky. I don't want a funky, so we gotta get it. There we go. Come on, baby, up through there again. Uh-oh. I went over this bar here. We don't want to do that. So let's get this back out here. Now the reason I'm going through here is twofold. Number one, to get my wire to go to the other side. Make sure I'm tight there. And then we're going to put one of the little crystals. Come on, baby. Right in the center here. So now we have to go down through here. Nope, stay up there. Now we'll go up again. And it decided to come down. I got to get that back out of there. Come here, you. You need to come up here. So back down. Stop kinking wire. So up through here again, pull her tight, push this crystal back into where I want it. Now we'll go through over this bar and one here. Then we will get our first crystal for this side on right here. So we have it half done. And we're just going to go up this side just like we did this one, putting the crystals in as we go. So we'll get our first one set right now. And again, it's just hold it there while you go up and through once and twice. And put the next crystal on. And then just up the line, just as we're going. Okay, now I've been counting the stones, and I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 on this side, and I now have 13 on this side. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and 13. But as you can see, I don't have this all the way down to the back as much, and this is a little uneven right here. So what you can do is take your stones and move them a little bit on your wire to make them be a little more even. And then this needs to move to this side so that our stone that's here at the very back is more like where this one is at, which means it needs to come over here some. So there we go. It's still not quite as far over here as that one is, so we'll just bring it a little bit further. So just spread them out just a little bit. And then we're going to do our final wraps over here. And this one is, I noticed, on top of its buddy. We don't want that. I had another one over there but I didn't notice it in time. So now we're going to go up, and we're still going through this bar here. But we want to go over, if we can, these wraps here on the end. Okay, we've done that once, and I think we went and wrapped right in here for our others. So we'll go through, I'm going to open this a little bit and go through here. We'll have to close it back up, but that's all right. Then I'm going to go through here, and we'll wrap it right here in this loose spot right here. 1, 2, and Then our third one will be our final one. And now that we've got that done, we'll cut those ends and we'll tighten them back up. See, there is our front. So let's get those wires cut right there. Now we're going to tuck those in with the other wires here. Do the same on this side. If I can find where I cut it. Oh, there it is. This one's still being a little difficult here on the end. It wants to be a tiny bit pokey. There we go. Now we're going to take our, I got things falling all over the place. My wires keep grabbing stuff. And we're going to squish this down again. And we're going to do the same over here on this side. I'm going to see if I can get things back out of my way some here that I've knocked over as with my wires. There we go. We're done with our beads, so we'll close those up so we don't lose them. And now we're at the final steps. And those are putting it back on the head. Here's the head back. Put it on the head where it would go, which is right down here. Then bring our bars around to the back. And as you can see, we're still way bigger than we need to be. I'm going to cut about half those loops off. This time we'll go to the top of the loop. Now we'll recurl them. And I would think they're pretty well close to being where I want them now. Leave the chain alone. So let's get our head form back out again. Put her on there. Don't stop wiggling. Bring them around to the back. And they're pretty good right there. See, they're not quite meeting. But since I'm going to put the lobster claw in there, and actually they could be just a little bit further away, but they'll be all right. So our next step is to put our connector on here. And to do that, I need to get out a lobster claw and some jump rings. And then they'll hook together like this and it'll be done. There's what she looks like. So, okay, I usually have some pre-made extender chains, but I don't, so I'm going to just get a piece of this and cut it off about 3 inches or so. And we'll put that down. I know that this chain, my lobster claw will fit into. So no problem there. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take this smaller jump ring and put the lobster claw on one side. Stop. So there's the lobster claw on this side, and then we're going to take this bigger jump ring here to this other side, and we'll put our extender chain on one side, and then we'll hook it onto our Okay, because I'm not overly fond of a plain extender, I like a little dangle or something on the bottom of it. And because of that, I'm going to get, I thought I had those right here. I like a little pretty of some kind at the end. So what I want to do is put some kind of a little dangle piece on the end. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this open, and I'm just going to get one of these. It's a large hole spacer. And I'll have to put them in another baggie later, but right now I just want one of these spacers out. Come on, baby. Okay. And what we're going to do is just take a jump ring and put this on sideways to make it be a dangle. It's going to work, so I guess we'll get a big one. Just one, darlings. Open this baby up. Through our dangle here. Come on. You're being stubborn. And through the chain. Close her up. And that makes the large hole spacer into a nice little dangle. So now we will take our lobster claw and open it up, hook it up over here. Oop, come here, you. And we are done. There is our piece right there. I'll get our little head out and slide her down into place. And it is a little loose on this head, so I could have made it a little bit tighter, as you can see here. Okay, there she is. All done. As I said, she's still a little loose back here, but it's better sometimes to be a little loose, because that way if you've got a larger head, then it would work better. But like I say, I could still tighten it just a little bit more. This head is not the same size as mine. I mean, because it's like 3 inches smaller than my head. So this is a good size. It's still on here tight enough to take a decent photograph of it, and it's turned out very pretty, didn't it? So this has been Rose from In Rose's Garden, and we've been making a circlet. We'll see you later. Bye-bye.